Eye opener: why Trump's tariffs would have never worked and what he should have done. How can you threaten tariffs without any leverage? You see, Trump thinks America has leverage with trading partners like China. It doesn't. Trump may think every other country on earth is afraid of America. They're not. As for the former, why would China be afraid of American tariffs? America has very little manufacturing capabilities today. We buy everything, or almost everything, from China. The same way a poor person without a car and who lives in what is colloquially called a food desert has no choice but to buy their groceries from the nearest convenience store. You either buy the overpriced crappy cookies, cereal in faded boxes, and the $2 bananas, or you go hungry. Trump continually makes the mistake in believing that an upward surging stock market is an indicator of a strong economy. This might be true if more than 10% of the population owned more than 80% of the stocks traded on the market. Sure, the economy is strong for that 10%, but the rest of us only have a few stocks in this and a few stocks in that, if we have any stocks at all, which seems unlikely since 63% of us don't have enough saved to cover a $1,000 emergency. This also might be true if the minimum wage tracked along with the rate of inflation. In other words, if the cost of a home, utilities, and food hadn't quadrupled or gone up by 400% in price, while the average wage merely went up by 50% since 1979, the economy might be deemed strong. If people's prized possession was still the home they could have bought for $100,000 a few decades ago instead of the car or truck in which so many dwell and of which so many bought for $100,000, the economy might be strong, or at least stronger. As for the latter, countries around the world are simply not afraid of America as they once were, and rightly so. Why should they fear a nation with the military might of the United States when the U.S. hasn't won a war since World War II? This is, as the author Chris Osman always says, a scenario in which the playground bully always gets beat up by the smaller kids on the playground. I guess one country over which America can claim victory is Yemen, but not really, because both sides simply agreed not to attack one another. And it's Yemen, a very poor country. American leaders can brag all they want about their military. Too bad they can't brag about that same military success, so Trump can't really provide a credible threat militarily nor economically, which would seem to be required as the means to enforce any kind of tariff. Oh, sure, he can apply tariffs all day long, but China can simply sell its convenience store bananas to some other country. Some other country the United States has sanctioned from using the U.S. dollar. Does this sound like a winning strategy? How would those negotiations sound coming from Trump's mouth? Now, China. I know we buy everything from you because we have no way of making these things ourselves, but we're no longer going to buy those things from you unless you give us cash back in the form of tariffs. And we're also not going to let all of the countries we sanctioned to use U.S. dollars to buy your goods with U.S. dollars either. To which China's President Xi might respond, so let me get this straight, Donald. You have hardly any means of production. You're making the U.S. dollar worth less by denying its use to billions of people. And you want us to pay you to take our manufactured goods when more of your citizens are living in their cars and more than half of your nation is only one emergency away from bankruptcy? President Trump, I'm not sure if you realize that we've been trading with all of the countries you guys have sanctioned for years. We've been selling U.S. dollars to the tune of billions for years. And while we would love to continue selling to your people who don't seem to have much money these days, we can find other countries who haven't given all of the wealth to a very small group of people. After all, how many pairs of shoes can Elon Musk wear every day? How many shoes can you or Oprah or Diddy wear? Even if millionaires and billionaires paid $100,000 or $1 million respectively for every pair of shoes they buy, they still can't match the amount of shoes the rest of your citizens would buy, wear, and wear out every day. They can't out-eat the millions of people who must go without, so the wealthy can hoard more money that doesn't stimulate the economy. Under American leadership over the past few decades, America has given away its technological edge by having China manufacture most of its technology. What? Did you think we wouldn't look under the hood or open up the computers and cell phones you had us build? With all due respect, that would just be naive to think we wouldn't. That would be rather negligent on our behalf not to copy and improve upon the technology you gave us. Would that be how you treated a competitor who handed you all of their research and designs? Anyway, how's about this? We go and sell our stuff to other countries and you guys figure out how to make the stuff we don't sell to you? Give us a call whenever you do get your manufacturing back up and running. She out. While I realize the conversation most likely wouldn't go like that, I would be willing to bet that the outcome from whatever conversation Trump had with China would be similar in this hypothetical scenario and the actual scenario that took place. Now, if Trump really wanted to have a serious conversation about tariffs, he would have first made sure America had leverage. He should have first brought as much manufacturing as possible back to the United States. He should have provided American companies incentive to build in America. Trump should have threatened to put a tariff on any American company that manufactures more of its products in another country than it manufactures in America. So any company that made 50% or more of its product outside of the United States would be treated like a foreign company. And of course, those companies might still have moved out of the United States entirely. But who cares? For one, they've abandoned America anyway. And for two, if America's economy is as strong as Trump implies it is, those companies would want to sell to Americans. If not, they could do like China and sell to countries upon which America has sanctions. Ultimately, in the end, it matters little what Trump does, because either way, the American people don't have any money to buy from the Chinese or American corporations that have shown no loyalty to the United States. America is becoming a nation of brokies. And the only way to fix that is to redistribute the wealth that has been inordinately distributed to the wealthy and to end the Federal Reserve System that creates every new dollar with 40 cents of debt attached to each one. Change the fractional reserve system that allows banks to loan out 9 times as much money as they hold at any time. Enact eminent domain on all of the extra houses and farmland that billionaires own. And basically repeal all of the laws that allow things like the insider trading of which Congress is guilty. America is $36 trillion in debt and climbing. Planet Earth is in $300 trillion plus in debt. This amount can only be an abstraction to most people. To whom do you guys owe all of that money? Aliens? If you like the videos here and would like to see more, let your friends and family know about this website of Mixon's Entertainment on YouTube. There are plenty of blogs, news, and websites reporting and complaining about our leaders and their failures. How many, however, are offering or even pointing to any solutions? The book Solutions. Enough complaining? Let's Fix America by Chris Osman does, and it can be found on Amazon or at www.mikesonsentertainment.com. To find out other ways you're being screwed by your current leaders, check out the posts on this blog daily. Learn about the biggest and worst issues that America and its people face today. You can also check into this blog daily to hear about those issues that America and its people will face in the near and distant future. If, however, you would like to discover possible solutions to either mitigate the worst impacts of these issues or solutions to avoid them altogether, keep listening. The problems we face are not as complicated as so many leaders and news reports claim. They are man-made and are only claimed as complicated so those who are responsible can maintain control. For example, there is a persistent argument that moving government is like turning a cruise ship around. It is supposedly a long process that can only be achieved incrementally. While this may be true for laws and policies that benefit the majority of Americans, it does not seem to be so for that smallest of American minorities. When one examines the policies and laws that benefit that minority, known as the elite or the rich, the speed at which those laws are passed is exponentially faster. While most of us sit on the deck chairs waiting for the Titanic to avoid the myriad of icebergs of which we seem to continually run afoul, The elite ride comfortably in speedboats. If, according to the Declaration of Independence, all men are created equal, why do the rich live quite different lives than the rest of us? Where is our speedboat? In 2018, Chris Osman wrote a book highlighting the problems humanity would face if more power, wealth, and control were funneled to a small group of individuals, groups, or organizations. In that book, Mr. Osman provides solutions, offered up from himself and others, to the inevitable problems we would all face. In it, he also provided a means for the public to analyze, compare, and contrast the words and deeds of those we've chosen to follow against our real-world experiences. To this end, Mr. Osman provides the means for readers to disseminate information as provided by their news sources of choice, their elected officials, and any other authority they choose to follow. The book, titled Solutions, Enough Complaining. Let's Fix America offers a means to hold leaders up, not just to a higher standard than is currently accepted, but to one that will improve lives. We're going to need a bigger check. Click the link below and get your copy of Solutions today.